yourself?
Doing well. I have you on speakerphone. I have my wife here with me. She's an advocate as well.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Awesome.
So I've seen that you posted a lot like about the city and how like there's a lot of things that are like not right, and of course when we all see it, we just really none of us really say anything, right?
Right.
And I am a resident of Anthony, New Mexico. I don't know if you've seen a big porch that's getting built here in Anthony. You could see it off of a Costa Road.
Oh, the big house over there near
What?
Bigelow's?
No, here off of Acosta, it's I don't know if you've seen, you know where Tierra Huichol is? I don't know if you're familiar
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, it's Terra
Okay.
Richard, the new housing development there. The house being
Yeah,
that has like a big like a carport.
yeah, it's barely getting built. It's just, and it's still under just wood and stuff.
Right.
So we're the ones building it.
Okay.
So they stopped us. I mean, I did try going for the permit and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and they stopped us. But the guy that stopped us was actually Barreras that called the city on us.
Okay.
Well, he called the state. He didn't call the city.
He called the state. Okay.
Yeah. So the state came. They told us to stop. So we told them like what had happened, and I told them I did call the Las Cruces location and to see like to see what I could do, and they said, well, you have to go off of them. The thing is that they are closed. So I was like, oh well, great, right? So we did start the project before getting the permit to them telling us, oh, but they're closed. So we started it and everything, and then they, I guess, decided to open that same week we decided to start, unfortunately.
Uh-huh.
So Barreras called the state on us because he has an issue with my husband.
Right.
Because in the past, he did like make kind of like a sexual comment on one of my social media pages, and he did kind of make a sexual comment to me, and well, my husband got involved, and he did tell him something, and well, since then it's kind of been, he was a security guard for us at school. I mean, he's way older than us, and so I guess from there it kind of just started that he started to
Harass
like
you.
have something against us, you know.
Right.
But I did make the complaint with the manager and stuff, and I know they did bring it to his attention because I did tell him that I would prefer like him not being around here at all because I felt harassed. Just because I mean, he was constantly passing by, just checking to make sure like we weren't continuing the project. He was always here. He would stand like outside of my gate looking in here. So I did bring it up to the city manager, and I guess they did because it stopped. But then we went for the variance meetings and all that good stuff that they're doing now because they said that it needed a 25-foot. It doesn't have a 25-foot variance from the back.
Okay.
So we went to the variance, and the city manager is like, well, you'll be fine. And, you know, that he's very nice. He's very nice. He's a very nice guy. Well, up to my understanding, he's the only one that's not family. And then I guess he can go both ways, right? And he's like, you'll be fine. Don't worry. And so I was like, okay, I'm confident about it. But then everyone else is family, unfortunately.
Right.
So when I went for the variance, first they say, well, it's a 25-foot setback and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, you know what? We want easement. And I was like, okay, well, get you the easement. And I thought, because they said, you know what, it looks good, the building looks sturdy, like there's, like, it doesn't seem like your neighbors have issues. I went to the neighbors, I talked to the neighbors, I asked them, like, if there's an issue with it, or they're like, well, no, we don't have any issues with you finishing your project. I mean, you go ahead, you finish your project. It's your land, it's to us, it's not a problem. So I was like, okay, perfect. So I took them those letters where the neighbors were okay with it. And they said, oh, well, you have letters and it looks like you've done a good job. And so I was like, okay, I'm pretty confident, like, you know, they're understanding and stuff like that. So when we went to the meeting, I took them those easements that because they postponed the meeting, so they didn't tell us anything at that meeting. They postponed it for another day, so we went to the second meeting. At that meeting, we said, you know what, I'm going to have to deny this. And we tried asking why, like what.
Who denied it?
The commissioners.
The trustees?
No, the commissioners.
So it was planning and zoning.
Yeah.
So what ordinance did they show you in regards to what the city has? Are they just telling you, or did they actually show you the laws?
No, they just read it, and
okay.
That's it. But they didn't show it to us.
So let me share you. Let me share with you real quick. My neighbor across the street. I live here on Church and Archer. And my neighbor's across the street's a former major in the army, and he's a surgeon, and he's a commander of the Fort Bliss of the commander of the VFW. He built a porch, and he came and told me like 2 weeks ago that he went and asked the city, and they said that he didn't need anything. He didn't need a permit or anything. He was fine. That there was nothing in the city that they didn't need anything. So I'm serious as brain cancer. So then I have an elder who was trying to do the right thing and went to ask last year for a permit, and instead of and I'll send you her testimony. What Roman and Barreras did is they humiliated her. They made fun of her. They yelled at her for a month.
What?
And so she was trying to do the right thing. So she finally came to me because she was like you said, she was being harassed like you were. Imagine being an 80-year-old lady being harassed and targeted and yelled at and screamed at in public at the restaurant at Ernesto's. This happened as well.
What?
And in public in front of everybody, all this. And so my elder exactly. So she comes and she sits down and she gives a testimony. And so it was, I want to say 28 to 26 days after that she had first filed for the permit, which they hadn't given it to her. As soon as she wrote the complaint and I filed the complaint for her, within 24 hours, they gave her permit.
Are you serious?
So I am going to ask if you are willing to write all this in a statement.
Okay.
Because I'm going to
go, basically now, since I appealed it, now I have to go up against the mayor and I guess the trustee.
Right.
And I'm like, well, what makes me be so sure about this if I mean, they're family, like.
Well, ask for Roy. Ask for ask.
I'm losing here.
Ask Ask.
They're gonna have it against me now.
Ask for Roy's. Ask Roy's permit should be public. Ask for his permit. Ask for 401 Archer Street, and he built a porch, and you'd like to have his permit. And then you'd ask for the other permit. Ask for Alva Minhades's permit from Gorman, and then you build that, and you say, look. What is it? Because you guys have different things here. This lady's waited a month for her permit, and then she was this. Then here's this guy. He didn't get a permit, and he was told it was okay. And then here's me.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, this has been going on since like July, I think.
I have a letter from an elder who Barreras made her go out. It was an email from her family. They made her go out and clean a yard that wasn't hers, and she ended up having a stroke.
And I saw that. That's why I was like, oh my God, they can help me. Like, I was really like, kind of like excited at the same time that I found you guys, because I was like, how do I go about this? I mean, someone needs to know how this works, because then I called the state that had came and told us to just stop. And when I called the state,
she needs that evidence.
The guy that came down, he's like, hey, I was wondering about you guys. Like, what happened? Like, I've been waiting for your permit. And I'm like, so this guy's waiting for my permit, which is the state inspector. Like, why would he be waiting if supposedly it's being denied because you're here to 25 foot. And he's like, well, that's kind of like an accessory. It's not really like a mobile home or, you know? And I was like,
they don't know the laws. They don't. That's why you need to be asking. I want the specific look with the planning and zoning. My wife and I attended a meeting with one of the commissioners, And the commissioner had told me and told my wife, and he's the superintendent of the water companies, that they try to make him sign a bunch of approved minutes from meetings in the past.
What?
Yeah. So there's no way that, and he says I wasn't going to do that. And we were wondering, like, why doesn't he go say something? You sit on that board and they're trying to make you sign for years in the past these minutes, and you stay quiet about that. So this is where you need that quantitative evidence. Without the proof, there's no pudding. You know what I'm saying? So you need to ask for, okay, I want first the exact statutes that are recited by the Parks Commission that it was denied. You want the exact ordinance that the city has.
Yeah, because and you know what? Right before the meeting, because we tried, like me and my husband, we went in there and we like argued and we told them, well, you know what? I don't have any shade for my kids, because they kept saying, well, we need something that can make us believe you need this. And I was like, well, what more do you need? We have kids, and these kids don't have any shade to play in.
And there's no parks because the city made it into a water fucking hole.
And I can't even plant trees because they die. Like, there's nothing I can do. So we're making a park, and they're like, well, that's not enough. I was like, I got you the easements you guys wanted because that's what you guys asked for.
This is
that's
retaliation.
What you guys needed at the last meeting to like make sure that there's no easements, and now you guys are going back to the setback, and they didn't even tell me why they were denying this issue.
You're being retaliated.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and that's exactly what I felt like. That I was getting retaliated just because of the complaint I put in against
Mr. Barreras.
Yeah, and I also Roman, because when I went in to fill out my application for the variance,
right,
I asked for help because I don't know, like I've never been through this. Like I don't know like what I need to fill out, like what needs to be put on. And the guy, first I went in there and I asked for some. The lady was like, oh, well, you know what, Mija, he's in a meeting. I was like, okay, so come back at 1. So I went back at 1. Oh, you know what, he just went to lunch. Okay, so I was like, okay, well.
Just like they did with Elva.
And then I called her back and I was like, you know what, ma'am, I don't know how to fill this out. I picked up the form. I don't know how to fill it out. It says on here to call you guys and have zoning help me. Or she's like, oh yeah, that's Mr. Roman was going to be helping you on this. And I was like, okay, perfect. I was like, can I go see him? She's like, yes, come back after 2. I went back after 2. He said he was really busy. He couldn't see me.
Right.
I was like, okay.
Like
I was like, well, you know what, man? I feel like he's trying not to see me at this point because he's always doing something when I'm here. But then you see him just there. So we went in. He had his secretary going back and forth, asking the questions that I had for that application.
Instead of coming to the front.
He would go in, he'd come back with an answer. He would go back, ask whatever I asked again, then he would come back again. This is ridiculous because it's not you that you're supposed to be helping me, especially this way, because he kept saying, I really don't know. And I said, well, that's why he needs to be here. How is it that he can help you and he's real busy, but he can't help me? So that's when I filed the complaint with the city manager. The city manager was very polite. I have nothing bad to say about the city manager. And he did not show up to the planning and zoning meeting. Not the first one, not the second one. He never showed up. He never said that there was an issue with it. I mean, he really never said anything about it.
Did you file a complaint?
It's like one of the best porches you'll probably see. It has trusses. It has things that it, 2-story houses have, where it's built very sturdy and it's just that the 25 feet that they want from the back is not there.
So
and that's why they're denying it.
So did you filed a complaint against Mr. Roman as well?
Yes. Well, I just said that Mr. Roman was not very helpful.
But you didn't file a complaint?
Excuse me?
You'd never filed a complaint against him?
It was just on the same thing where he didn't help me, where he was very unprofessional.
Okay, so I would ask, my wife and I were saying that you should request for all that because In 2014, a group of elders went to speak to the city, and Mayor Castañeda told them that if they wanted to speak to the city, they needed to speak English and to get out of the fucking office. And so the lady,
What?
yeah, so the lady who was the grand administrator was a former LULAC, and I was a investigator for LULAC and a president for 3 chapters. So this lady was a LULAC member, and she went and laughed at the elders and did all that stuff. So I got on my emails, and these elders came to my house and told me what racism they had faced. And so soon after that, the city started sending Roman and Fernie Herrera to my uncle Tony Saab's house to harass him. And just like they were doing to you, they went to his garage, opened his garage, said they didn't like how his garage was clean. They didn't like this. And they started giving him tickets after tickets after tickets after tickets, that it drove my uncle mad. And so it started October 29th, and then he filed a complaint November 4th of 2014. Well, in 2017, we asked for that complaint, and that complaint that Roman looked for against himself was not in his file, which is a violation of state law. So this is we've already been told which attorney to speak to, and I've got if you'd like, I'd like to see if I can give you her number too, because I'm going to contact this attorney, because this is the only way the city's going to learn is by us doing these lawsuits.
Okay.
Because this is what they did, retaliated towards me. They called me a drug addict. You saw how long today it took. It took them an hour to show up after I called them 911 when I was attacked by that dog.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. My son's almost.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank God. My little son's almost been killed. My wife's almost been killed by these dogs. My son's was attacked from 6th to 9th grade, and the city just doesn't care. And so I've compiled enough. So last year in 2019, these people asked if they could speak to the city. We went to ask if we could speak and present this case to the city, what Smiley and everybody was doing. And the mayor denied us the ability to speak. And then the chief of police drew her gun. And so we have testimony and written statements from other residents who then afterwards tried to set up a meeting with the city, and she would not let them speak. So, yeah, and so the only thing left for us to do is to sue the city, man. And this attorney Lambati, who I was referred to, she's a pit bull in regards to these litigations.
Okay. Yeah, because even when I called the state, he's like, well, you know what? Let me go ahead and call, because by law they need to tell you why they denied it, and they didn't tell me why it was denied at that point. They just said, you know what, I'm denied, and they all just said, yeah, me too, but they never said. I tried
exactly.
talking, this lady, this one of these commissioners,
yeah,
this older lady, wow, she was like, she did not have it. Like, I would try talking, and she would like literally like.
They're all cousins.
Something else, and I would tell her, you know what, I'm sorry, but with all your respect, and I mean, I talked to her, and my husband talked to her like in a very polite way. I mean, we tried, and she was, and I told her, okay, so you're telling me you're not gonna. You don't know if you can approve this, because if you approve mine, you have to approve everyone else's. I was like, well, if you approve everyone else's, it's because they're here, they're showing up, they're bringing what you guys want,
and they're doing it right.
You're gonna approve. But
yeah.
If you're not gonna approve, you need to tell me. And I was like, and besides that, you have people building things that are falling apart right now.
Well, what about that house that caught on fire on Angle Road? That guy's house caught on fire twice, and it burned down.
And because it's the trash.
How about the guy on Church Street that has all the shop right there on Church and Clark?
Exactly.
How about the tire shop over there on Livesey? Right? You know, the elders, one of my elders, she had 4 chickens, and Smiley went back there trying to give her tickets for all these fucking 4 chickens while these people have their loose dogs and they didn't do a goddamn thing. And my wife's called on these people 3 times. That dog attacked me. My wife's seen it attack a lady with a stroller already, too.
Yeah. And I told her, and I was like, well, now you like, if you approved everyone else's, why aren't you approving mine? I was like, you guys are telling me it's a 25-foot variance, but then yet again, you see some of these porches sitting on the wall, literally sitting on the wall. But then that's not anything, right? Because and then she came up with the grandfather back in like, well,
she can't be making shit up.
You know what? I'm not even gonna say anything because this lady is one of those that you're not gonna beat her. She's gonna get very upset because you're arguing her stuff. So I tried to like just avoid her just because I knew that I had to get this permit, and I knew that I wasn't gonna go against her, and I wasn't gonna win against her just because of how she was. I was the one explaining the plan to her. Like I was explaining to her how the model is, how it went, and she still said, well, why don't you move the wall? And I said, how am I going to move the wall, ma'am? If you're telling me an ambulance can't go in there, an ambulance, the way I have it right now, can go all the way to the back without an issue. But you're telling me to move the wall and me lose 20 feet of my land, and if someone's stuck in the back of that land, the ambulance will not get to that back because it's small, and I only have 5 feet on both sides for someone to get into the back of the land. I was like, so it's ridiculous. An RV cannot be back there. So and if I park my RV back there, the ambulance, my car, the kids cannot go back there. I was like, so I don't know how you want us to do that. So she got very upset.
They're making up laws.
Very upset.
They're making up laws.
Very upset.
We have a history. Judge Soriano, who lives right there in that 2-story building, she had told us that Smiley was going, and I have it on text too from Facebook that I saved, that Fernie, Trustee Herrera, had gotten from people, that Smiley was going and giving tickets for fake ADA stuff, that they're in violation of the ADA and they were going to do this. He threatened to tell to give the ticket to a judge, to Soriano, and threatened her where she felt scared. And so I have another person, and I'm going to give him a call and have him be part of this now. Luis, he lives on 2nd Street. His neighbor was encroaching into his property line, and then since they were cousins of Diana, the mayor, the police were going over there with Smiley and harassing him for him to give up his property in a fake law that it was supposed to be 6 feet. His fence was supposed to be below 6 feet so the cops could look over. So we went to the city like you did and everything else, and the trustee came here to my house and finally told us that the chief of police had told us, so we went with Luis and his partner, that the chief of police Baca said we could arrest you for this right now. So they're willing to arrest people on fake laws that the mayor was pushing, and we find out that none of those laws existed, none of them.
Oh my God.
And so you know what happened to Mr. Luis? He ended up getting a divorce. I had to go with him to court because of all this kind of harassment. So he's another person I'll be contacting for this lawsuit, because this is your what you happened to you, what happened to Alva, what happened to Luis, what happened to me. It is.
Like, this is personal stuff, and now I'm going up against the mayor when in reality, I mean, what am I going to get out?
Nothing.
Like,
oh, yeah.
nothing.
Or you might get arrested.
And she was very upset because I said, well, you have people working here that are building on their land, and you guys probably don't even know. And she was very upset. Well, if that's the case, then they need to come and get... And I was like, well,
that's your problem.
I'm just telling you.
We need to get those complaints from the city.
I have a friend that they say that her father isn't allowed to rent her lots out because they're not allowing mobile homes in the land, and they keep making him clean the path, like you say, things that isn't his land. They're making him clean, but they don't make the other neighbor clean. They only make him clean, which would be half and half. And they keep telling him that they're going to ticket him because he needs to clean and this and that. When in reality, it's both of them that need to clean it. If in that case, they need to clean. You know?
That's why we need to ask for everything they're asking you. You need to ask for the exact ordinance and variance. I need the exact ordinance. I need everything in writing for you to show me. Everything.
Oh, okay.
That's what we need to ask. Are you willing to, like I said, are you willing to write all this down and write these statements down and start pursuing this to the next level?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if this is going to get what I need, and this is going to get this changed, well, why not? You know, I mean, this is where I live. These are where my kids are growing.
Yeah, and you shouldn't face
And
retaliation just because Mr. Barreras holds his ego very thin, and everything is personal.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't mind doing it, and if you guys, I don't know, I mean, maybe you guys are a lot more professional than I would be, and if you guys are willing to write it, I mean, I'm sure with just signing it, and I'll tell you everything.
All you got to do is just exactly what you told me. Everything that you just told me, like the phone recorders.
Mhm.
You can do a phone recorder like that, and sometimes they do voice to text.
Okay.
So everything that you told me is brilliant. Everything that you told me is that's why if you like, we can meet, and I can, if it's too much, I can type it out later on, but we can do something like this where I'm typing it and you're talking like that. We can transcribe your words,
Yeah.
word by word.
I mean, that'd be fine. I mean, I don't mind telling you again, and I'll say it again because, I mean, this is what's really happening to us. And I mean, my husband told him, I was like, he even said, we're staying behind. Have you seen Anthony, Texas, how pretty it's looking? And have you seen how Anthony, New Mexico is? We're staying behind. We're trying to better this place, and you guys don't help. They were very upset.
I had millions and millions of dollars for this town, ma'am. Millions. I had parks. Sure. I had everything ready to go, and I was told that I was a drug addict. And do you know that we developed one of the first green master plans in the nation for Anthony that was completely developed by the community?
I believe you. I mean, I believe you because, I mean, what was it? That a gas station couldn't be here because there was going to be too much traffic? I heard that one too.
Yep. Yeah, and they were going to build a prison here because they said that we didn't have the high graduation rates, and it was good for them because then those kids would be here in this prison, and they could hire people within the community to watch our kids. That's why we decided to become a city, because I didn't want our kids to become nothing but a cattle and to become a pipeline from school to prison, and all we're doing is eating each other up as like cangrejos trying to get out of a pot.
And they're not helping.
They don't.
I mean, the mayor right now, have you heard that she bought a house in Merino, but she still says she lives here? I mean,
yeah. And do you know that she increased her she increased her term? You know that?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I didn't even know when the votes were.
No, we didn't. It was supposed to be this March, but they decided to give. She voted and gave herself an extra year and 8 months.
And now she's part of something in Las Cruces as
and
well.
And now she's a county commissioner as well, because now she was able to. How can anybody increase? I created the city. I put this shit together, and I've never heard of anybody able to go and just by their vote. Sunland Park voted to have the elections this year so people can decide, while Anthony here, the mayor, voted to increase her term by a year and 8 months, and then now she's got a second job.
Fair.
That's what we need to bring up to the attorney. This is why we need to bring this up to the attorney. We need to bring all this up. My uncle's death, because we're going to be suing him for wrongful death because of the harassment. He ended up going crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm dealing with trauma. I've had to go to a therapist, and she's quantified it, and she says, yeah, you've got PTSD. You've got these issues. I have just like working for the fucking military. The same sort of conditioning that I have, because I was threatened. My wife was almost run over. My kids were almost run over. We've been shot at. We've had to deal with all this shit, and there's no reason.
I'm very sorry to hear that you've been going through this much stuff.
Yeah.
Just because of one thing.
Just to help, because we don't want the people.
That's all power.
Yeah.
That's just
selfish.
They feel they have the power, and that's what they're trying to abuse.
Yep. And we don't have leaders.
And you know what? And I work here. I help people out. I work for the health in the medical field, and I don't know what I try helping people, and they're trying to sink people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do people do this? How can you have a heart like this?
Because they don't. They don't have any empathy. They go to church and they act like they're pious. They're supposed to be these. I mean, the mayor teaches catechism, and this is how she treats the people that are supposed to be in her flock.
That's horrible. There's a lot of things here that, like I said, I even took all my neighbors' letters because they said that's who has to approve my stuff because it's going to affect them. It affects them, not anyone else, but it really affects the neighbors. So I went because I know these neighbors don't show up to these meetings. I know a lot of them get the letters and they toss them. A lot of them said they never even received them. So I did go and I did my work and they didn't care. They didn't care about my letters.
You just gave me another one. Do you know the Anthony Bakery on Livesay?
Mm-hmm.
He was going to add like a kitchen so he can make enchiladas and hamburgers and stuff like that. Where Roman went over there and told him he couldn't do it and that he was denied without any sort of appeal or process. And he went and Roman told them that the neighbors had said they didn't want him to have that business there. And so when Roman went, Rogelio went to ask the neighbors, they're all like, he never came and spoke to us. Miss Irma Fernandez told us that there was this lady who used to sell menudo here. Roman went to her place, even though she had a permit, and went and told them that their permit wasn't good and confiscated all their menudo and all the food they had made. So the son took all the permits and everything to the city, and the city just blew them off. That they ended up moving the business to Anthony, Texas. So my friend was going to open up a plaza here, and she's disabled, and she was a very well set off dairy owner. And so she said, yeah, Victor, I want to invest in Anthony. I want to do this and this. And she was going to she wanted to buy the land around Loma Linda and put like a shopping center and stuff around it. And so she went to, and she's 35 and she has a double arthritis and her hips are deteriorating. So she's disabled. And so the mayor made her wait for 3-4 hours standing. And finally, my friend came here to my house and said, I've been standing this long. They just told me, oh, she's going to come in. She's going to come. She's going to come. She's going to come. And she never showed up. Never offered her a seat. Never anything. Just made my friend, who's disabled, like the mayor, stand and wait.
Wow. This is horrible. Like, how is this even bettering? I don't even know how this became a city.
Well, it became a city because we had a bunch of kids dying. My grandma used to be Musi's, Maria Sabs, by the post office, a little tiendita. And we had kids overdosing every fucking week. We had stop signs that were missing, that we had a kid get hit by a fucking car and he got thrown into a house, and the cops were too busy helping the people that my primos were around this little kid, and one of my friends who was a deputy started giving him CPR, and his intestines came out through the mouth. And that's what these children were looking around, and they were experiencing this. And I'd lived here, my family's been here for 80 years and nothing had changed. And my wife's grandmother paid as much property tax as I did, and she lived in Las Cruces, and she had sidewalks, she had police. So we said, look, we have enough money here that we could do it ourselves. The thing that happened in this community is once they were given the tools to do it, they decided not to do anything for it. The people that were against it becoming a city got voted in because it became a popularity contest. And from that popularity contest, it was about keeping, like you said, keeping their power, keeping their friends, and not doing anything. Because if they don't have to do anything, they're not accountable for anything.
Yeah.
It's very
That's
frustrating.
horrible.
It is. I had a business person, and we had grants from the federal government to provide everybody in Anthony with broadband free. And this business owner was going to then hire. He had where you could call people, like a service center. But he had said he was willing to have people work in their houses, so these moms could work 8 hours, 4 hours, whatever time out of their house, because we'd have the broadband to have those people to generate those jobs.
To do it.
Yeah. We had a $2 million grant from the federal government to create a fucking a town hall that was going to be green with a rooftop garden. Gone.
Wow.
They just told me there was $1 million for a veterans proposal and veterans housing. Nope. They don't want to build public housing here. They don't want to build affordable housing for people. There's 700 families.
They don't want to do anything.
No.
They don't want to do anything.
No.
But what? The mayor has a new house now?
Yeah. She gets her $15,000. She gets all her trips, right? We have evidence that the mayor has
car.
broken the law. Yeah, she has her new car. I mean, then now she's going to be a county commissioner, so it's another $40,000.
Yeah.
Her son told me on Facebook, which we're going to show the attorney, that we cannot speak to her mother because we have to speak to him. And he threatened us, and I'm going to be pulling, I already filed a police report against him. I've had the trustees say that, oh, my son's going to get out of, he told the judge, the trustee for Fernie Herrera told the judge, Soriano, that his son was going to come out of jail and was going to come do something to me, and he didn't know what he was going to do to me.
Oh my gosh.
So then I had to file another police report against, and call Mr. Herrera and put it on YouTube that, you know, this is happening in case something happens, that the police and the FBI, everybody have fingers to point to.
Something.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe this is horrible.
Yeah.
What's it gonna come to?
A lawsuit.
I mean everyone like that's gonna help here, like how are you gonna even be safe, you know, after everything?
I had a student whose parents called them for a wellness check. He was multiple personality disorder, schizophrenic, depression, and his parents called him for a wellness check. And this was in 2017. So the cops show up, and what do the cops do? They assaulted him, they attacked him, and they knocked his teeth out, and they sent him to a coma for 3 days. When he woke up from the coma, he was arrested. So me and his family went to the city hall to tell him, why was this happening when it was just a wellness check? They just needed the cops to calm him down. They didn't need the cops to assault them. The officer then gets up and says that guy deserved it. So then what happened last year? That young man went and then stabbed his mother 40 times, and she ended up dying.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, it's very sad because he was one of my patients at one point.
Well.
And I know who he was, and when he barely was getting diagnosed, he was scary. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he was the only one that had ever made me feel somewhat scared. But then I saw him again. He was very calm after he started treatment and everything. And I just feel it's very sad because they judged him a lot.
Yep.
They judged him that, yeah, he killed his mother. Who can do something like that? But they don't know what really happened.
No.
I mean, this is a condition. This is an illness.
There's trauma.
They can't control it. They can't control it.
No. You cause trauma.
I felt very sad because they kept telling him he was crazy and this and that, but then they don't know why he did it and who he is, and
instead of helping him, right? Yes. Nobody stepped up and tried to help him. Nobody tried to say.
Why did they help? Like, try running with the mom, or why did they? You know, no. But they're very easy.
They're judgmental.
Yes, they easily judge people. They don't know what really happened, but then it happens to them, and they want the help. And
they want the sympathy. And they want the drama.
So, I don't know, I guess
that's the world we live in, because people are like you said, they're selfish with their power, and they don't want to help. And anybody who helps is a schmuck. And anybody who wants to help your brother, your sister who's on the ground shouldn't be admonished. And that to me is antithetical to the teachings of the Catholics. I'm Jewish. And so to see how these Catholic people treat each other is horrendous.
It's bad. Yeah, it is bad. I know, I understand. But I don't know, whatever helps and whatever gets me what I need, and I'll do it. I'm willing to do it. You know.
Okay. Let me digest this for a couple of days, and then I'll text you, and I'll go on and I'll record this, so I can go back and transcribe everything you said, and then we'll move